హాయ్ వర్స్, వెల్కమ్ టు మై యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్. సో ఈరోజు పవర్ బిఐ అనే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ గురించి మీకు డెమో క్లాస్ అనేది నేను పోస్ట్ చేస్తున్నాను. సో ఒకవేళ ఎవరికైనా ఈ కోర్స్ ఫుల్గా నేర్చుకోవాలనుకుంటే డిస్క్రిప్షన్లో కాంటాక్ట్ డీటెయిల్స్ ఇస్తాను. సో ఆ కాంటాక్ట్ డీటెయిల్స్ మీరు కాంటాక్ట్ అయ్యి సో ఈ పవర్ బిఐ గురించి మీరు పూర్తిగా తెలుసుకోవచ్చు, కోర్స్ నేర్చుకోవచ్చు, అలాగే ఈ కోర్స్ మీద ఉండే ఆపర్చునిటీస్ కూడా తెలుసుకోవచ్చు. ఓకే.
Myself is Rajsekhar. I am the Power BI trainer. So now we are talking about Power BI. Okay. What is Power BI? So Power BI is a Microsoft product. So
Okay.
it's a Microsoft product for reporting purpose. It's a reporting. So when it is introduced, actually, so this tool Microsoft was launched in the market around 2013. So but it got a popularity, I can say in the last 3 years. So when they released this product in 2013, so nobody was trusted about this tool, and nobody was interested to move to this tool and all, used to this and all. Later, from the 2015, 2016, especially from the 2017 onwards, lot of the people started using Power BI for reporting purposes. They have chosen this Power BI as a reporting tool, so instead of all other tools, and then even they converted some of the existing tools like Tableau to Power BI, SSRS reports to Power BI, and all. So from where it started popularing, most of the clients started using Power BI, and it got a lot of popularity. So when you ask so about this market and all, so in the year of 2015 to 2017, there are less number of people for Power BI, and market also very less because clients initially didn't trust this tool. So later, when this tool enhanced a lot, every month this Microsoft team, every month they will add some new features to this existing Power BI product. So if you see, I will show you the desktop tool. So let it open. So every month you will see a release. So monthly you will get a notification saying that a new release is available. Update your Power BI desktop to a new release. Right now we are in September 2021. A release. In the October, maybe after 1 week or 2 weeks, they will release one more version. So in each and every release, monthly they are updating their product. So that is where all the people are liking this product very much. So daily, how they're enhancing and what are all the new features they're enhancing, it's all up to the survey which we are submitting in that Power BI portal. So there is one portal, support portal, where the people will post a questions, and if that question got a lot of likes, and then that question was supported by many people, and this Microsoft team consider that requirement as a priority, and they will implement it and release it in the next release. So you can see this is Power BI desktop, and you can see the version. So right now where we are, so I am using September 2021, and market, this is the latest version we have in the market. Maybe after 1 or 2 weeks, we may get the October 2020 version. So up to date, every month we are getting new features. Okay. So this is purely for reporting purpose only. It's not a ETL tool. It's only reporting tool only. Okay. So and so what are all the reporting tools we have in the market? So as of now, so there are a lot of reporting tools. As Reza said, she is working on Tableau. So Tableau is one reporting tool. Okay. And SSRS again, it's a Microsoft tool. Okay. And then Cognos is a reporting tool, and then Qlik is it. Qlik in the sense we have QlikView and QlikSense also. These are reporting tools. And then SAP BO, it's a reporting tool again. So where we have business reports and all. And then what else we have reporting tools? It's all. Excel is a reporting tool. Power Pivot is a reporting tool. Overview. And then there is some PPMS. So these are all reporting tools we have in the market. So these are all prior to Power BI, Power BI era. Now, if you see, so when they introduced these reporting tools like Tableau, ClickView, Cognos, and all, so at the same time, Microsoft introduced this SSRS as a reporting tool from the Microsoft end. So it is part of SSRS. So it is part of MSBI. So MSBI full form is Microsoft Business Intelligence, and then it is a pack of three components. So first one is SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services, and then SSAS, SQL Server Analysis Services, and then SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. So this MSBI, if you want to learn Microsoft MSBI, so you have to learn all these three integration services. It's a ETL tool. Okay. So where we will extract the data from different sources and keep the data into some destination server. On top of it, we have this analysis services, nothing but our cubes. Okay. So cubes are nothing but once you get the data into data warehouse by using this ETL tool, SSIS packages, so you will create a analysis services cubes. So that will aggregate the raw data and store it in the cube. So, and then once you have the data warehouse and cube, so by using this SSRS tool, this is reporting tool, you will create a reports. Maybe you may directly connect to this ETL data warehouse instead of cubes and create a reports, or you can connect to this SSS cubes and create a reports. So this is additional layer on top of this data warehouse. So generally we have data warehouse, and on top of it, generally we used to have data marts. Data warehouse is a big thing. So where you will pull the data from different sources and keep it into data warehouse. It's a big, it's like a entire house. And then once you have data warehouse, and then from this data warehouse, based on our application, our module in our project, so again, data will be subdivided into data marts. So data mart is a subset of data warehouse. So data warehouse is a big thing, and data mart is only a portion of it. So we will create data marts, and then our team will create a reports on top of this data mart. This is the general, I mean, data warehousing concept in any project. So we used to have data warehouse, on top of it data marts, and then we will create a reports. Here, our clients may choose any report for reporting, but even for preparing this data warehouse and data marts, they may choose any ETL tool, not only this SSIS. So they will go with, I mean, if you ask about what are all the different ETL tools, I can say, so SAP is again data services, that is one ETL tool, and then SAP DS, it is one ETL tool, and Informatica, one ETL tool, again Cognos also we have data stages. So this is one ETL tool. So and then Microsoft product for ETL tool is SAP. So they can use different tools. I mean, whatever they like, they will go for this ETL tool and load the data. So there are projects where for ETL purpose, they may use Informatica, and reporting purpose, they may use SSRS. That is absolutely fine. There is no need to use only same tool, same product for all the purposes. Okay. But yeah, so this is how, in general, if you are working in a project or, I mean, in real time, you can see this kind of architecture. So if you're into one project, so that, and if you're a report developer and your role is, you will play a role here only for reports development. So if you have already knowledge in ETL side also, so then you may be part of this team as well, data warehouse team, where you will be creating packages, jobs, and you will load the data from different sources and keep it into data warehouse. And then from on top of this data warehouse, again, you will create set up SSIS packages or Informatica packages, generally called it as a jobs, certain jobs, and move the data into data marts. And then on top of this data marts, you will create a reports by using any traditional reporting tools. These are all traditional reporting tools, and this is advanced reporting tool. Okay, so why I call it as a traditional reporting tool? Because these are all somewhat old compared to this Power BI, Tableau, SSRS, Cognos, ClickView, ClickSense. I mean, ClickSense is an advanced thing. I mean, first they introduced this ClickView, and now they introduced a new thing, ClickSense. Okay, so you can, I mean, by using Tableau and SSRS, there is a lot of flexibility. I mean, you can design the report. So we cannot compare this Power BI with other reporting tools in general. So if you can compare, you may see some advantages, and also at the same time you will see some drawbacks also. So where by using Tableau or SSRS, you can do some lot of customization. That customization may not be possible with Power BI in some cases. So this is not a good idea to judge. I mean, whether the Power BI is good or Tableau is good or SSRS is good. But this is a trending tool in the market. The reason is this is very simple tool which requires very less configurations, less software, and everybody can easily learn. So that is the only reason this Microsoft Power BI is nowadays in a trending in the market. Trending in the sense, so you can see in any Naukri or any job portal, you will see. I mean, if you are searching for some business analyst role or some data engineering role, so in each and every job description, you will see this Power BI as one of the requirement. So that is how, I mean, this Power BI is playing a major role in the market as of now. And you can see from the, I think from 2020 December onwards till now, right now we are in, you can, I mean, if you can compare with the last 10 years or 15 years, right now we are in a stage where we don't have a suitable profile in the market. Suitable profile in the sense, all the people are already placed on huge demand in the market from the December 2022 till now. So there is a huge demand in the market, not only for Power BI, it's for almost several skills, and Power BI is one of the top skill in that list. So huge demand in the market, and people are less, very less people. In the sense, there are a lot of people who has been trained in the Power BI, but there are very less people who can capable. In the sense, they don't have proper skills. They simply learned it, and they're searching for jobs. Or even when they learn it, I mean, they are not able to demonstrate their self in the interview properly. So these kind of profiles, as of now, we have all the experienced people. They have already placed in so many companies. Even they, if you believe or not, so one of my junior colleague, I mean, in my previous company, we used to work in this same project. They had just 5 years of experience, just 5 years of experience, and his skills are only Power BI, and then basic SSRS, nothing. In the backend, he has knowledge on SQL. So with this skill set, so he has 3 or 4 offers in his hands. In his hand, and all the topmost service-based companies as of now, and he's getting 15 lakhs, 5 years. 5 years candidate for 15 lakhs, that too in Power BI, it's a huge. Okay. And there are some people with 5 years or 6 years, they are getting 18 lakhs and all. I mean, it's all up to the how he demonstrated himself in the interview and all. But if you see his skill sets, this is not something rare skills. He also has Power BI and then some basic SSRS SQL. So this skill set, he with this much of experience, he is getting some good package in the market. See, earlier, prior to 1 year, so if you have 5 years, generally at max you will get 10 lakhs. Experience into 2 times at max. So 10 lakhs. Now this rule, this calculation gone. So now they are giving 15 lakhs, 18 lakhs, 20 lakhs for 5-year candidate also. So this much of demand we have in the market right now. So why they are giving? Because if you are good in Power BI and if you are searching for a job, you will get a job. First, you will be placed in some company and they will offer, let's say you have 5 years and they will offer some 10 lakhs or 12 lakhs. So you will try for one more company, you will clear that interview and they will ask, do you have any offers in your hand? Definitely you will say, I have been already placed in so-and-so company. They are offering 12 lakhs. And then they will give more than that. I mean, they may give, so okay, then we are giving you 1 more lakh extra, or 14 lakhs or 15 lakhs. So whatever the notice period you are serving, by the end of that notice period, you generally attempt many interviews and then you will crack all those interviews. and you will choose the best one. So how much, I mean, whoever is the offering the highest salary, then you will go for that thing. So this is how the market right now, as of now, we have in the demand is huge. And to be frank, I mean, in my current project also, so I'm looking for some, not for Power BI resource, at least some MSBI resource. I'm looking for some good MSBI resource with 4 or 5 years of experience, and that too only in SSIS and SSRS, not in SSIS. So I have been, I mean, screening so many profiles as of now, and I'm seeing my HRs are literally crying, I can say, because they're finding the profiles and they're scheduling the interviews, and when the guys are just joined, and then they all are fake. And when they are not fake, so they are giving interviews, and then at the end of the day, we are rejecting because they don't have proper knowledge, at least what we are looking for in these two tools. So these HRs are highly struggling a lot, and because competitors are a lot, even when we hire a people with some package, we cannot sure whether he will join or not. He may get different offer with the highest more than what we are offering to him, and then going to that company. So this is a struggling time for the any company, but they are offering a lot. Okay, forget about all those things. So Power BI. So why I am telling this is a trending tool? The reason is it's a very friendly tool. Friendly tool in the sense anyone can easily create a reports without any much knowledge on the backend tools. Okay, I will show you. Already open, right? Okay. As a Power BI developer, so what's your role? So you will create a reports, and then you will publish those reports into Power BI service. I will talk about what is Power BI service and where you will create reports and all. So and then you will share the reports. That's all. So prior to that, so this is the concept. So how will you create? You will create a reports on top of some data source. So it may be some relational database like SQL Server or Oracle DB, or it may be unorganized data source like some spreadsheets or some Excel worksheets shared in some folder, or non-relational databases like MongoDB. So many databases. So okay. So your role will play only for creating the reports and publishing the reports, created reports into Power BI service, and then sharing the reports. So scheduling the reports in Power BI service. So prior to that, all this work, creating the jobs and pulling the data from different sources and keeping those data into data warehouse, and then again from the data warehouse to data marts. So this is traditional approach. I mean, it is not a rule like all projects will follow this particular model. So generally, I mean, if you are working in a very good organized project and it's a huge client, then you will see this kind of thing. You may have different sources like source one, source two, lot of front end sources. So if you are working in a project, so each and every project will have one front end layer, like it will be built with the .NET or some other coding tools, Java and all. So let's take some example, ICICI Bank. So let's say if you are using ICICI Bank account, so what will you see? So you will open your mobile and then ICICI. So each day you will check your balance, or you are sending some amount to your friend. So that interface is a front end that is developed with some coding tool like .NET or whatever they use for coding purpose. So once you do the transaction, so that sending money or receiving the money, the transaction, so that will be loaded into some DB, right? So this is so that DB is our source. So from the UI in the sense user interface, that front end applications, when they make some transaction, so the data will be stored into some transactional DB. Okay, I call it as a transactional DB. Like we can call it as a transactional data source. Okay, once we get the data into this transactional DB, we will never create a reports on top of this transactional DB until it's highly recommended. Okay, the reason why I'm saying this thing, so transactional DB, it's just staying behind this user interface. So if you are connecting to this transactional DB and querying this tables from this transactional DB, this UI interface will impact in the sense the resources you are already using for your reporting purpose. At the time this UI may face slowness, you will see some portal is responding slow and all. So those kind of tickets, they will rise a lot. So in general project, so we will never create a reports on top of this transactional DB. So this transactional DB just sit behind this UI user interface. Once you get the data, so it's transactional DB. You may get the data whenever I send the money. One record will be loaded into this DB. So and so person transferred this much of amount into this particular this person. So that data will be divided and spread into multiple tables. What is the phone number? Who is receiver and all. So once you have the data into this transactional DB, that data will be moved to data warehouse. So that's a OLAP. So this is, you can call it as a OLTP. So, okay, online transactional process. So this is up to date. In each and every second, minute to minute, you have the whatever the data you have printed, that data is stored into this OLTP source. Once you have the data into OLTP source, so let's say 1 day delay data, generally we will keep in data warehouse. So this is data warehouse. Okay. So data warehouse. So this is OLAP, online analytical processing. So this is not up to date. I mean, it has only data till yesterday. So whatever the transactions that were happened till yesterday, that data we will move from this TDS databases to this data warehouse. So when will you move? Generally, we will create some packages by using SSIS or Informatica and all. So that packages will run. We can call it as a jobs. So these jobs will run generally. I mean, we schedule these jobs to run from 1 a.m. to in general, I'm saying 1 a.m. to 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. So prior to business start their day. So generally they start their day by 9 a.m. right? So prior to this time, so we schedule our jobs, and that jobs will load the data from this TDS to data warehouse. So once you have this data into this data warehouse, like till yesterday data, so you will create reports, right? So you can say use any report, SSRS or Tableau, ClickView and all. So let's say Power BI, we are learning Power BI. Let's talk about Power BI. So we will create our Power BI. So this data warehouse, I mean to say, so if our project is small project, then we directly have this data warehouse or the databases, and we create our reports. So if it is a huge project and there are many people involved in it, and there is a lot of business, again, this lot of teams and all. So this data warehouse divided into data marts. So DM called as a data mart 1 and then data mart 2 and all. So if you're sitting on data mart 1, like whomever, I mean, so our team is responsible for only sales data. Let's say data mart, all the sales data is in data mart 1. So there is one more team. Let's say this is some HR data. So they are working on only HR data. So they have this data mart 2. So this data warehouse data again divided into data marts. So again, this will happen through ETL tool only. Here also we will use SSIS or Informatica and all to move the data from this data warehouse to data marts. So all these things, data movement will happen. So prior to our business starts, like from 1 a.m. to 9 a.m., 1 a.m. to 7 a.m., it's all based on our data, how much data we are getting daily. And so these jobs they will schedule the jobs, and these jobs will load the data into this. So once you have the data into this data marts, so these data marts are nothing but databases only. So these are all sources for our Power BI. So you will create a reports, and then Power BI reports, and then these Power BI reports you will publish. So once you create a report, that report needs to be published into somewhere, so that from where users can view your report, right? So you will publish into Power BI service. So this is our host. Power BI service is our host for Power BI. I will tell you what is this host and why we need to publish it. So in the Power BI service, you will publish it, and you will schedule your report to refresh. I mean, so if you create a report that holds the data till today, and tomorrow it has to refresh with whatever the data we have in this data marts, whatever we have data in the data sources, right? For that purpose, you will schedule your Power BI report. So all the scheduling and all will happen in the Power BI service. Okay. So this is clear. So for creating the reports, you will simply use Power BI Desktop. So this is the free tool, absolutely zero cost. Okay, for even real-time projects also, it's a free. So Power BI Desktop is free. So you can simply download it from Google, and then where you will create a reports by using this Power BI Desktop. Once you create a report, then here you can see this publish option. So you will click on it, and this report will be published into post. So for Power BI, so development will happen Power BI Desktop. So this is Power BI Desktop is a tool. Okay. So once you create a report, the host is Power BI service or Power BI reporting services. I will tell you what is this Power BI reporting services. Okay. So that's all. Only two tools we are going to use: Power BI Desktop and then Power BI service. So let's take some traditional reporting tools. Like, let me talk about SSRS because I'm into Microsoft products only, so I don't have knowledge on Tableau and all. But let me tell you about SSRS. So SSRS traditional reporting tool prior to this Power BI. So as of now, also SSRS is not outdated. I mean, I used to heard from many people saying that MSBI is outdated tool. If you're not upgrading your skills, then you may be out someday. So this, when I started my career in 2012, and also I'm hearing the same words. And many people used to say this is outdated tool, honeymoon days are gone, we have to update and all. Still, this SSRS is a leading tool. I mean, so many clients are using SSRS, though they are migrating now, but this will never be outdated. So that much of capabilities we have in SSRS and all. Okay, so like this is, we will create our reports by using SSRS. So all the reports we will generally host in report server. So Microsoft report server. Okay. So this is our host. So ways to host report server. Host is nothing but we may choose one server, one computer as a server, and in that server we will install this reporting SQL server reporting server in that server, and then so wherever we are creating these SSRS reports, like we have server, let's say some server one. This is some IP address, and all this is our server. Let's say some example. So you are creating. So for SSRS, if you want to create a reports, either you have to have Visual Studio, SQL Server development tools. This is nothing but part of Visual Studio. So by using Visual Studio, we will create a reports. So once you create a SSRS reports, so that reports you will deploy into report server. So from if you deploy this particular created reports into your host, which is nothing but report server. So there is one web application on top of this report server that is nothing but report manager. So this is for only managing our content in the report server. So this through this report manager, we used to give access to all our users to this report manager, and they will click on this particular report manager link, and they will view all of our reports. Or do whatever the reports you have created, first you will deploy into this report server, and this report server URL, you will share it to your front-end team, like UI developer, I said, right? So these are all front-end developers, and we are all backend developers. So whenever you are working with reporting or data, you call as a backend developer. You are not a front-end developer. You are not creating any web pages. So you are working on the data. So that means you are a backend developer. So we will give this URL to our front-end developer, and they may embed this URL to their front-end tools like their .NET applications. So they will provide that report link in the application. Whenever they click on that link, that will jump to here, and that will render our report. Actually, that report will render here. So this is traditional reporting. So we are creating by using these SSTT tools and posting that report in some place. But in the similar way, Power BI, you will create a report into desktop, and you have to host that report, place that report in somewhere so that users can come to that place and see. So that host is nothing but Power BI service. So this Power BI service is completely on cloud. Okay. So like here, so this SSRS report, if you want to host this report, you need to have this SSRS server, and this server you will configure in some mission. So this will sit in our on-premises only. So in our environment only. So this we call as a on-premises. on-premises. But here, this is on cloud. On cloud in the sense why? Because we are not dealing with the server and all. So we are simply buying some space from the Microsoft on cloud, and they're giving some space. So simply we are publishing our reports to that space. So you no need to care about how to whether you have to install something, management software and all. So if you buy some space, they will give you space and you will publish all your reports to this cloud. So what you will buy are some people, some clients, they don't trust on cloud and they want to be in on-premises only because they don't know. I mean, their data is very sensitive, like they are working in banking and all. So they generally they don't go for on cloud because they don't trust. So they prefer on-premises only like this. So that is why they haven't moved from SSRS to this advanced on-cloud tools. So what they prefer their on-premises only, and they choose to stay with this SSRS only. So for that purpose, Microsoft introduces recently Power BI reporting services. This is on-premises host. So for these kind of people who won't trust this on cloud, so they introduced this on-premises host. So similarly, how we are configuring this service report server for SSRS, right? So we will choose one mission in our on-premises in our client area, and that mission we used for only host purpose only server. So we will configure this Power BI reporting services, and we will publish all our Power BI reports into here. So this all development and host will be in our premises only. So that is on premises. So this, as of now, I can say only 10% of people right now are going with reporting Power BI reporting services. 90% of the Power BI projects are using Power BI service. So simply we are purchasing the license for Power BI service. So there are two types of license: Pro license. I will tell you all these things. Power BI Premium. So okay. So simply we will purchase these licenses. Once you purchase these licenses, that means you have access to this service, and you will publish your report from Power BI desktop to that particular Power BI service. Okay, that's all. So once you publish your report, so that report will be sitting in your Power BI service, from where you will share that report to end users. So sharing report is free. I mean, you can share the report freely, and users can see the report. I mean, sharing is costly. I mean, if you have somebody has already shared some report with you, you can see freely. You don't need any license and all, Power BI Pro license or premium license and all. But if you want to share that again to someone else, you definitely need a license. So otherwise, they won't allow you to share your data, share your report generally. So Power BI desktop is free completely. It's a zero cost. You can download and create a report. So when you create a report with the Power BI desktop, you cannot share with anybody because this is with you. That report is with you only. So that Power BI report, that extension .pbx, whatever the file you are creating, if you want to share, you have to mail that file and place this .pbx file somewhere and ask him to see. So that person, if you want to see what report you have created, he definitely have this Power BI desktop installed in his machine. Otherwise, this .pbx file won't be opened, right? So this is not the good way of sharing the reports. The sharing the reports is whatever the reports we created in Power BI desktop, that we have to place in the host, which is nothing but our Power BI service. So from where you can share the report, and they can simply click on that link and come to this Power BI service, and they will view our reports. So this is background. So what is required for Power BI is simple two things: Power BI desktop and Power BI service. So with the Power BI desktop, you will create the reports by connecting to this data sources. It's like maybe your project may be using SQL Server or DB, a combination of SQL and then Excel and a lot of sources. And then compared to this traditional Power BI tool and the remaining tools. So I'm not sure about this Tableau and all. So I mean, how many connectors they are offering so far, but I am familiar with this SSRS, right? So I can say, if I compare Power BI with SSRS reports, I can say this from the SSRS reports, hardly you can connect to 8 or 10 sources like Oracle DB, SQL DB, and then Excel files. Hardly you can. The connectors are very limited. You can count in fingers. Hardly less than 10. So with the Power BI, you can connect. I can say 100 plus sources. 100 plus sources you can connect. You can connect to Power SQL Server, Oracle DB, Azure, and then even you can connect to social media like Facebook, Twitter. There are n number of sources, and daily each and every enhancements they are introducing new sources, new connectors to Power BI. So if someone asks whether we can connect to, if someone asks, can we connect to Microsoft Outlook from the Power BI? If you are not sure about, just simply say no. Because there are 100 plus connectors, we don't know what are all those hundreds and all. So we can search simply, I will show you. So this is our Power BI desktop, right? So if you want to connect some source, so get data here. So these are all the recent sources or whatever the sources here you are seeing here. Most of the sources are Microsoft products. That is why he is highlighting common data sources. So he put some of the data sources in this particular folder, common data sources. So if you click on this more, you will see a lot of connectors. So those list that common data sources, you will again see here. So simply he is highlighting his product. You can see this Power BI datasets, SQL Server. So these are all, and Excel. These are all Microsoft products, SQL Server, Excel, and this again Power BI datasets. And so that is why he has kept here one more time. And the same thing you will see in the get data more. I just clicked on more. So you can see the connectors are a lot. So many connectors. That means these many sources we can connect from the Power BI by using traditional data source like SSRS and Tableau. So I'm sure you cannot connect more than 8 sources or 10 sources by using SSRS. I'm not sure about Tableau, how many connectors it is offering as of now. Okay. So, but these many sources, we cannot connect from any traditional reporting tools. So you can see so many tools. CSVs you can connect, and even folder also. Parquet. This is again Azure, a SharePoint folder, SQL Server database, XSDB, analysis services, cubes. So many Informatica, IDD, Teradata, Synapse. So these are all sources. Okay.
So can we connect Power BI to Access, and we can create pivot and report whatever the report we required?
Correct.
For example, XSDB file having 16 lakhs data. So directly we can connect Power BI to XSDB. I requirement to create a pivot and remove active sign from the pivot. That part is possible in that Power BI.
Yes. See, if you see this source here, so once you connect to this particular source, you can create, not only pivot, you can create any report by using the available visualization from the Power BI desktop. So once you see the toughest part is, so whether we have the connector or not. If you have a connector, then connect it. And then once you connect, so all the data inside this particular database will be exposed to you, and you will select what are all the tables from this database you have. And then once you load those tables data, and you can create any report, maybe simple tabular report, matrix, or whatever you want.
Okay.
The rest of the things you can do in Power BI. So so many folders, so many sources you have. So if you see anything in brackets, they mentioned as a beta, like, right? So that means still they are working on this connector, but they have already released this beta version, but this is not a final version. Okay, maybe in the next release, they may enhance it further and they will release the final version. But with this beta version also, we can go ahead and all our things will work. We can connect to this thing and we can create a reports and all. Okay. So these many connectors you have. Let me, as of now, let me go with only Excel. Okay. Let me go to some Excel. Okay. I have some Excel workbook, AdventureWorks dw.xlsx. Simply click on open. So it is connecting now. So connecting to that Excel. So what will happen? So it will show me what are all the worksheets I have in that Excel workbook. So these are all the worksheets I have in that workbook. I will show you. So if you see here, if I open this Excel workbook, It may take some time. The data is huge. Later, yeah. See, so these are all each and every table we have in different sheets. So these are all Excel worksheets. So all these dim dimension tables, dims are dimension table. Make it open. Yeah, you can see. So this is fact table, our fact internet sales, and then remaining data in the different sheets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, right? So these six sheets are exposed in our Power BI desktop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what you have to do? So connect it to your source. That in this case, Excel is our source. This is our Excel. So then from here, what are all the tables we are interested? Those we can select simply. If I'm interested in just dim customer, dim date, and then fact table, go ahead and select. And if you're interested in all, go ahead and select all. And you can see this preview. So preview in the means, so if you select some particular table, so some sample records, some sample top 200 or top 300, some sample records, collection of records, it will show here just to see how our data looks like in the table, just to see. Okay. So if you select other table, you will see the data from the table. So if you don't want to see this particular option, there is one option to disable this thing also. So it will simply disable. So these things and all we will learn in the Power BI training once we start our training. So each and every property, we're going to learn it. And for now, for demo purpose, just I selected all these tables and then you can see this load, transform data and cancel. So this load in the sense directly all the tables data we are loading into Power BI desktop. So transform data in the sense, so directly loading this data. So first we will load this data into Power Query editor so that it will take us to Power Query editor. I will tell you what is Power Query editor. So from where you will do some transformations, like if you want to remove unwanted columns, do that. If you want to change some data types, whatever the data cleansing part you want to do in Power Query editor, and then close and apply. It will bring you back to this Power BI desktop with all these tables. So let me go with load option as of now. Simply, it will load the data from these tables and add all these tables into your Power BI desktop. Right now we are in Power BI desktop. You can say untitled Power BI desktop because we haven't given any name to this report. So that's why it is untitled and we are in Power BI desktop. Okay. So it's loading. You can see the progress also. So done. See, in the fields area, you can see all these tables, and if you expand any table, these are all the columns inside the table. Okay. If you want to see the data, so let me explain you briefly about this tool. So this is our Power BI desktop tool. It has 3 sections. The leftmost section. Okay. So this is one section, section 1, and this is your canvas, section 2, and this is your field area, section 3. So we have to divide this. If you divide this entire Power BI desktop into 3, so this is section 1. You have three panes here. The first one is report. Okay. Second one is data, and the third one is model, where you will see the relations between all these tables in the model. So this is canvas area where you will create the visualizations by using these visuals. If you want to create table, matrix, or some charts and all, you will create in the canvas area. And the third section is fields and then visualizations. Fields where we can see all our tables or data sets. You can call it as a table or data set. So this is our data sets. Table are nothing but data sets. So that means, so data sets will provide the data for our visualizations. Okay. So how this data come? So we connect it to Excel. So data source. So, okay. Let me clear all these things. Okay. So that data source, again, you can see here, data source settings. So you can see here, I connected to, from this folder, I connected to adventureworks.dw.xlsx file. So that means my data source is Excel file, and this is the file name, and I pulled all the data. So this is the data I get from the data source, and this is in 6 different tables. So this you can call it as a table or data sets. Okay. That right now we are in report page. So if you mouse over here, you can see. So this pane, we call it as a report. Right now we are in report. So that is why we haven't added any visual as of now. You won't see any data. So now if you go to data tab, so you will see data for all these tables. Right now I highlighted this DIM customer and you can see the data inside that table. So it has customer key, geography key, and all these things. Okay, you can see. And then similarly, you can see the data in all the tables in the data tab. And if you want to create one more additional column to this, let's say we have customer, right? What do you have? Customer first name, last name, and all you have. If you want to create one additional column like customer full name, so you just need to create one calculated column by using this new column. Okay, so all those things okay. Okay, something happened to my Power BI. I lost it. Let me get the data one more time quickly. I'm sorry. I won't take much time. Maybe hardly I will take next 10 or 15 minutes and we will close this demo session.
What is the difference between load and transform, Rajshekhar, when after selecting the Excel?
Correct. So load, I'm showing right. I will come to that part. So when you select load, so all the data will be loaded directly into your Power BI desktop. So you can see all the tables in the field list once this data is loaded, right? I will tell you the next option, the transform data. So you will learn all these things. I mean, so in our Power BI training, so we are going to learn each and every options, whatever we are seeing in this Power BI desktop. Okay, and we are going to learn how to use them and what is the purpose. Okay, so as of now, I loaded this data, and then I can see the data in the data tab for each and every table, and even I can see the all these tables, how they are related in the model tab. Okay, so if you see here, let me reduce the zoom here and see. So all these tables are related and this dim data is not related because the tool is not able to find out how to, give a relation between fact to this dimension table. So it's not able to detect. So on which column I can join these two tables. So whatever the relations between these two tables, we haven't set as of now, right? So this tool detected automatically and created the relations for us. Sometimes, most of the cases, these relations are proper and these relations are correct. I mean, when generally if you are working with Excels, there are plenty of chances these relations may not correct. So, but if you are pulling the data from some relational database where you have all the tables are properly related by using foreign case and all, so that time this what that predicted or detected relations 99% correct. Okay, so these relations, so how it will join by default. So if it sees the common column name between two tables, Power BI will detect and it's assumed that okay, I can join these two tables based on this key, this particular column, because sales key is available in this fact internet sales and sales key available in dim sales territory dimension table. This is perfectly fine. I mean, this is correct in this scenario. Sometimes it may not work. Okay, so in that case, we will manually provide these relations under. Let's say dim date is not related to this product internet sales, right? So let me create a relation, manage the relationship. I click on it. So new relation, and then I can select dim date and then product internet sales. This is my fact table and this is my dimension table. So date key from dim date, I want to join this date from this dim date too. So I have so many keys here. Order, you want to join with order date or due date or ship date. Let me go with order date. So it will create a relation between these two tables, fact and dim. The relation is on order date. whatever the date you selected from date table, that date is nothing but that particular product order date. So you can see here, this relation is created. Okay, so all the relations you can see in the model tab, and data you can see in data tab and report. So as I said, right, customer, if you click on new column, and if you want to add some additional calculated columns, so based on what we have in the database, so if you want to add additional columns, you have to write here, like let's say full name. Right, you need to write a DAX. So for all the calculated columns, measures and all in the Power BI desktop, you have to write a DAX language, data analysis expressions. So as of now, I have first name. So just when I start writing first, so you will get the intelligence. Okay. So you have first name, double click. So it will auto complete. So when you, okay, it will select the first name, and then I want to combine first name and last name. So first name space last name, start typing last, you will get the intelligence here, dim customer last name, just simple. And then press enter or plus click on this tick mark, right mark. So it will save your formula. You have written your formula. The formula name is full name. So what is that? Cannot convert the value, let me to type of. Okay. Let me see what we have. So this is our first name and this is our last name, Larry. Okay, let me use pipe operator. Okay, this pipe is for concatenation purpose. Okay. Cannot convert the Larry of type text to type. Okay. So one column is type different data type out of two. Let me see, because we loaded from Excel, right? So we may not trust Excel always. So maybe the data type for first name is different. Let me see. What is the data type for this thing? So first name, it is text, okay. And then where is last name? Okay, last name is also text, absolutely fine. And why we are getting this error? Don't worry for now. We will see all these errors how to handle, and I will explain you what are all these errors now. Yeah. So it's working. Let me give some space between these two, and let me use one more thing. I will explain you how to write this calculated columns on DAX and all. I will teach you. Don't worry. Just see for now. Okay. So you will see first name Larry space Gil, last name. So if you want to create calculated columns, you just need to use the DAX language, and you can create the columns in this table. And you can see this calculated column is added to this particular table, team customer. And this icon, it's a different icon than the normal pins, and you can see table, and then on top of the table effects. So that means this icon will indicate, so this full name is not a table field, something which we added on top of our table field. So this is calculated column icon. If you say sigma, it indicates this particular house owner flag. It indicates numeric value. Maybe it's a 1 or 0. You can see here. So 1 or 0. So this column contains numeric data. Sigma, wherever you see sigma, that means numeric data. Wherever you see calendar, that is date data. It indicates date data. Okay. Okay, this is how, and let me create some basic visual. So I selected table, and in my table, I want to see, let's say product, class, and then color. Simply, just simply drag and drop tool. Okay, you no need to worry about it. So when I selected this class and color, so those fields are added to my table, and you can see under value section, this class and color are added. And then what is that English product name? Okay, English product name is added. And then let me see the sales amount. Okay, and let me add one measure metric from this table. That is that if I won't find it, I can drag it and see the sales amount. Okay, sales amount or numeric value. So that's why you see the sigma. So sales amount, and by default it is selected as a sum. By default for this combination, it is summing the sales amount. It is showing here. Okay, cool. So we simply created one visual. This is our table, and then let me add one more slicer to this thing. Slicers are nothing but input parameters. So if you're working on Tableau and SSRS where you have our input parameter, right, search criteria. So in Power BI, we call it as a slicer. So here, in my slicer, let me add calendar year. So if I want to see the data for each calendar year, okay. And if you want to bring it as a drop-down list, let's see. If you click on this 2025, and data will be shown for only 2025. If you won't trust whether it is a 2025 or 2026 data, add this column to your table, and by default it will sum because that is a numeric field. In this case, do not summarize because it's a year. It's not a numeric, it's a year. See, only 2005 data you can see. And if you want to see for 2018, so you can see. So that means whatever the selection you are selecting from the slicers, all your visuals inside the space are responding to this selection. So, and also let me copy and duplicate this table. Okay. And let me convert it to some chart. Let's say for now, remove the class from x-axis should be my year, sales amount, values. Okay. Let me select this. Cool. Okay. Now let me clear my selection. Now you will see data for all the years, right? So whatever the selection you selected from here, from the slicer, so that selection is filtered for all the visualizations inside your page. That means visuals are interacting. Even if you clear here, and if you select only 2017 from this particular bar chart, so here also this other visual also filtered for this 2017. So this is the very the most liked features in Power BI. I mean, if you see any traditional reporting like Tableau and SSRS, this visual interaction is not possible in Tableau and in SSRS. So that means if you click on some visual, it is interacting other visuals and filtering the data in other visuals also, right? So that is not possible in traditional reporting. So this is one major difference between the traditional reporting and this Power BI. Visuals are interacting here. And then also it's very simple tool. I mean, we don't need much knowledge to learn Power BI. The basic understanding we can easily learn, and then software is also very simple. Power BI desktop and Power BI service, right? So let me increase some font here. So that font and all you can increase here. So all this formatting and all you will learn. Okay. Similarly, let me increase the values here. Okay. So I'm going to copy and then apply here. So those same settings will be applied to this visual also. So we have created, let me show. So basic report, some test report I have created, and let me just name it some test run. I have the same report in my desktop. So just test underscore report. So by default, it will be saved with .pbix extension. So now this untitled will change it to the name, whatever we have given. It's done. You connected a source, you pulled all the data, and you created a report. So someone asked what is transform data, right? What is the difference between load and transform? So we haven't done any transformation, data cleansing part as of now, right? If you want to do that data cleansing, So that data cleansing you will do in the transform data option. So what will happen? So when you select the transform data option, so it will launch one more window that is Power Query Editor. You can see here, this is our Power BI desktop from where we come to this Power Query Editor. When you click on the transform data. So in the Power Query Editor, you will do all your data transformations. Like see, we simply loaded all these tables, right? For each and every table, you can see some pre-applied steps here. So that steps in the sense, these applied steps, first we connected to this particular source. The source is our Excel. In this Excel, so many tables are there. Out of so many tables, we navigated and selected one particular table, DIM customer. And then in the Excel, generally, the first rows are not headers. These are ABCs, right? These are not headers. So our headers are the data which is in row number 1. So that is why we are promoting the header. So we are making the first row as a header. So it's already predefined. So Power BI tool itself is doing that activity. Okay, and then it changed some data type. Whenever you see some number, it converted to numeric, otherwise text. Okay, all this happened. All these applied steps are already happened. And if you want to filter out some data and do some data, other transformations, like let's say you don't want to see phone number, let me remove. So you can see one more applied steps. It indicates you removed a column, and let's say you want to change something. Let's say this customer key, right? So as of now, you can see, let's say this geographic key. So if you want to change this particular person data type, as of now, it's a whole number. Let's say instead of whole number, you want to change it to decimal number, change it. So you will see one more time, change it type. So all these applied steps. So whenever you do something, so you are doing with your mouse click. You are not writing any code. Just with your few clicks, you are doing something, and all that activity are logged here as a steps. And you can see what is happening behind. So this Power Query Editor is writing the code for our clicks. So that code you can see in the advanced editor. So this language is called as M language. So if you want to learn Power BI, you no need to learn this M language. You don't worry. So by default, it will be automatically created. What are all the actions we are going to do? But at least we should understand what is happening by seeing this code. It's very easy, and it's a difficult language to understand. But for understanding purpose, it's easy. If you want to learn it, it's a difficult, very difficult, and you no need to learn it. So the Power BI, if you want to learn, you have to learn only text. That's all. That's fine. Okay. So you can see, I will explain you how to read this thing. So it's begin with let and ended with end. Okay. The first step, source, we are connecting to Excel workbook, and from that Excel workbook, we are taking the content from one. Okay. We are connecting to this Excel workbook. This entire link we are passing to this variable. It holds entire workbook. Next, once it holds the entire workbook, and this variable, next step, that is DIM customer seat, we are selecting one particular seat, right? So this seat we are selecting from this source. So from the source, take this item DIM customer, and that kind is seat. It's a seat. Item is DIM customer, and its type is seat. And take the data and store this data into this DIM customer seat step. And on top of this step, next we are promoting headers. So this promoting headers, now it depends on the previous step. So this is our previous step, and on top of previous step, promote the first row as a headers, table.promote headers. So it is writing all these functions, table.promote header and all M language functions. You don't need to understand, you don't need to worry about it. Just understand how it is happening, and you should be able to just simply understanding how to read it and what is happening under. And then it changes the data type to customer key column from int to something else and all, right? So all this data type, whatever the applied steps. So you remove the phone. So table.remove columns, that phone number column you removed, and you did some data typing and all. That's a last step name. Again, you will say that's all about inquiry. You no need to learn. So if you want to create one calculated column, here also you can create the calculated column, add columns, custom column. But if you want to create a calculated column in the Power Query Editor, you should write a, let's say in the same DIM customer, if you want to create a full name, you have to write a M language here. So M language syntax is completely different, and it's a difficult to learn, but you don't worry. So If you don't know M language, don't create a calculated column here. The same thing you can create it in Power BI Desktop, right? So this transformation, I mean, if you want to combine multiple tables into one, merge the queries, append the queries with all this transformation. So once you do all this transformation, just click on close and apply. It will save your report and take you back to the Power BI Desktop. So that data cleansing and data modeling we will do in Power Query Editor. That is the difference between load and transform data. When we are pulling the data, load will directly dump all our reports to Power BI Desktop. But if you select the transform data, it will take you to the Power Query Editor first. And from where you will do all the data cleansing part and you will come back to Power BI Desktop. Okay. So that's fine. I simply saved it. And then I have to publish this report, right? So this publish option, since I have already logged into service, I can see my name here. Otherwise, you will see that login option. You have to log in first. And I click on this publish. So it will ask, so where you want to publish in the Power BI service again. So in the Power BI service, we have workspaces. So all your reports will go to workspaces. Workspace is nothing but it's a folder. So these are all the workspaces available as of now, and I have access to all these workspaces. If you don't have access, you won't be able to see that workspace also here. So let me publish my report into, let's say, test group workspace. Okay. So I selected this particular workspace and then click on select. So it will publish my report into Power BI service now into that test group workspace. Don't worry, try one more time. So let me select it. Sometimes you may get this kind of glitches. It will work. Don't worry. So done. So now it's published and it's saying publishing to Power BI success, and this is the report. If you click it, it will take you to the Power BI service, or if you know the Power BI service URL, you can directly go. So generally that URL is nothing but simply, it's a common URL, app.powerbi.com. Simple. Just app.powerbi.com, type in Google. So if you already have access, it will take you, you have to log into this service. So I'm logging in. I'm using my office laptop. Then we start our training. I will use my personal laptop. Okay. So I logged into service now, app.powerbi.com. So this is our service, and you can see this workspace right here. You can see all these are workspaces. These are what we have seen in our Power BI Desktop whenever we are publishing. So even if you click this link, it will take you directly to that Power BI service. And let me click. So now it's opening on different browser, Edge. Okay, fine. So it is again asking me sign in. Here the browser is different. It will take you directly to that particular report in from that workspace. So now you can see your report, the test for one report and the visuals. So here you will share this report to end users. They will come to here Power BI service. They will not see your report from your Power BI Desktop. Okay. So once you create your report in Power BI Desktop, you have to publish it into Power BI service from where they will access your report. So these are the workspaces. So we will choose one workspace. You can maintain like different workspaces here, like dev, U8 and production. So dev workspace, use it for development purpose. Once you are working on creating some report, publish it into dev workspace and test it. If you feel that is completed, and move it into U8 workspace and ask your users to report is ready and I placed it in so and so workspace, test it, and then when they provide some sign up, move it to production, so that report is live in the production workspace they will use. So generally reports will they will see your reports here, and then so this particular report is pointing to our Excel workbook, right? Suppose if we add one more data, some more row here, so that will be come to your report whenever you refresh the report. That refresh and all you have to do it in from the workspace. Go to here and then Go to this workspace. I will show you. So in this workspace, you will see the context. This is all the reports we have in that. There are 2 reports. So, but you see 4 files for each and every report. See, for test and underscore 1, there is 1 report we created, but we can see 2. This is nothing but when you have this report in your Power BI desktop, it's a single file, test underscore 1.pbx. When you publish it into Power BI service, it will become 2. That means from our report, the reporting part will be separated from the data. So Power BI service will hold the report only visualization data into here, this file with a different icon, and you can see type as report. And the data part will be loaded into dataset. So dataset and reports are separated in the Power BI service, and they stored in different folders. Report with the same name will stored in report folder, and dataset will be stored in dataset folder. So for scheduling and all, you have to go to here, so this thing, schedule refresh, and then setup scheduling. So since we are using our Excel workbook as a source, right? Excel is our on-premises workspace. So if you are creating report with the on-premises, you need to have a gateway. So as of now, I have a gateway installed on my machine and personal gateway. I will explain you what is this gateway, and only when you are connecting to on-premises sources, we need gateway. If you are connecting to on cloud like Azure and all, AWS and all, you need to. You don't require this gateway and all. So gateway is connected, and then provide your sign in to that our workspace. It is just asking your credentials one more time. Done. Credentials are ready. So you don't have any parameter. Schedule refresh. Now turn it on, and daily I want to refresh it. Let's say Indian time zone. I want to refresh it daily 7 a.m. in the morning. And one more time, 5 p.m. in the evening. Let's say 5 p.m. 5 p.m. in the evening, daily 2 times. Okay, done. So you can see here, so minutes are 0 and 30. That means per an hour, we can schedule 2 times. That in a day, 24 into 2, 48 times we can schedule our reports. So, and if it fails, send email to only data owner, or if you want to send an email to additional people, so you can provide their email list here also, then just apply. That's all. So it is scheduled for refresh now. So if you refresh history, you can see as of now, it hasn't triggered. And if you don't want to wait till now, you want to refresh it manually, go here one more time and then go to dataset and then click on first option, refresh now. So what will happen? It will refresh now. So if you want to see that history, click on this option and here see refresh is progressing. This time, this refresh is on demand. We manually clicked on it, right? So that is why type is, you can see on demand. So generally when you schedule, you will see type as a scheduled refresh, and as of now it's in progress, it's refreshing. So this is how something. Sorry. Okay. So this is how we will create our report, and then we will we'll publish our reports to Power BI service and then schedule refresh and share the report to end user share. So how to share, how to how to refresh and all, we are seeing right as a demo. But in our training, we will go one by one. We will learn all the things. Okay. So this is okay. So refresh, it's failed, status is failed. And the reason is gateway is low on memory. So that means I installed that gateway in my laptop here. So there is some memory issue. That's why it's failed. Okay. So in general, that too I'm using a personal gateway. In general, if you are in a project, you will never use personal gateway. You will use enterprise gateway. So I will tell you what is personal gateway and what enterprise. We will learn in the next once we start our training. Okay. So that's all about it. Development will happen in desktop, and then developer report will be published to service, and here we will provide access to how to provide access. So if you want to provide access to end users to this entire workspace, and then so you can add a members. You can see who are all, as of now, who are all the members of this workspace. I mean, my so this is my, this is not my project. So this is for just a demo purpose only. So I think somebody removed me as admin, so I'm a member to this workspace. So I'm not able to see all the things. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I will show you once we start our thing. So how to share and who are all the, what are all the types of sharing as a member, as an admin, as a contributor, as a view role, all those roles and all. Okay. Okay, any doubts?
The end report which is published to end users, Rashekar, that will be also in PBIX format, right?
Right. So all your Power BI reports, the format is .pbx only. Extension is .pbx.
Okay, fine.
So once you publish, it will stay in the here in the service. And again, the service is not a. See, it's a trial with you. With the trial also, you can use the service. But in real time, developers, you may need a license, pro or premium license. Let's say pro license. All the developers should have pro license. So once they get the pro license, you will be able to scheduling these things and all. Okay, scheduling and sharing, and there are some other options which are possible only with license and free version. Those are limitations, and if you're in trial version, all those you won't be able to see. Okay, so generally we used to give access to this workspace only for that particular report or entire workspace or apps. We will create apps on top of our workspace. I will tell you what is happening. So, and you will move the data from that particular workspace to app, and you will provide access to apps. So end users will come to only till this portion only apps. They don't want to see the when you are scheduling, what is the data set, what is the report, what are all the dashboards you have on the top of the report. They don't want that thing, right? They want reports. So you can limit their access to only these apps. Workspace, you can provide access to developers only. So, and if we want to download it back, you can download. So this is our report, right? Just click on it, go to file here, and download .pbx file. Again, it will download that report to your drive, and you can start working on it. If someone suggests some enhancement, you can start working. So generally, in our project, we used to maintain that source controller, right? Like TFS or GitHub. So generally, we will maintain all the versions of reporting to that particular TFS or GitHub. So there is no version control concept in the Power BI. If you want to maintain your versions, previous version, current version, and all, you have to keep it in some TFS or GitHub. So it will download that PBX file again, and you can do the changes what are all they requested and publish it. It's downloaded now. You can see the .pbx file is downloaded. Okay. Are you good? Any doubts?
Yes, Rashika, is this course includes the SQL and DAX language also?
So in this course, I'm going to teach you the Power BI desktop concepts, how to create a report, roles, and then Power BI service, how to publish your report, and then how to create the scheduling, the gateway, and then adding the users to these services and all DAX. So without DAX, you won't learn Power BI. Yeah. So Power BI is combination of creating reports, and if you want to create reports, you need to create a measures, calculated columns and all, right? So there won't be any simple report like where we can use this table and create some table with the existing fields and all. Definitely they will ask. So write a formula and get this sum of this amount where this product type is so and so. All those requirements they will give. And you have to write a measures. So for measures, you need to learn a DAX. So I'm going to teach you DAX also. So the TEM language is optional. Okay, you don't need to learn at all, and it's not an easy thing. You forget about it. So whatever the requirement you want to get it with M language, you can learn it, fulfill it with the DAX. DAX is fine for Power BI.
Okay, thank you, Rash.
ఓకే, మనం 1 month ఉంటుందండి. ఐ హోప్ మనం తెలుగులో కదా ట్రైనింగ్ 1 month ఉంటుంది. సో డైలీ ఆల్రెడీ మనం స్టార్ట్ చేసి పవర్ బై డెస్క్టాప్ నుంచి అండ్ పవర్ బై సర్వీస్ వరకు. సో డైలీ మనం ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ ఆప్షన్స్, అసలు ఏ ఆప్షన్స్ ఎలా యూజ్ చేసుకోవాలి, ఏ విజువల్స్ ఎప్పుడు ఇచ్చేయాలి, సో క్యాలిక్యులేటెడ్ కాలమ్స్ ఎప్పుడు రాయాలి, మెజర్స్ ఎప్పుడు రాసుకోవాలి, సో డాక్స్ మనం ఎలా మెజర్ రాయాలి, డాక్స్ నేర్చుకోవడం, మనం మోడల్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవాలి, రిలేషన్స్ ఎలా బిల్డ్ చేసుకోవాలి. సో అట్లా ఇంటర్వ్యూలో ఎట్లాంటి క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతారు. సో ఇవన్నీ మనం నేర్చుకొని కంప్లీట్గా ఒక రిపోర్ట్ డిజైన్ చేసి సర్వీస్లకు మూవ్ చేసినప్పుడు ఇప్పుడు మనం ఎక్సెల్ వర్కే చూసినాం. సో ఒక ఫోల్డర్ నుంచి డిఫరెంట్ ఫైల్స్కి ఎలా కనెక్ట్ అవ్వాలి, ఒక డీబీకి ఎలా కనెక్ట్ అవ్వాలి, డీబీతో వర్క్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఎలా వర్క్ చేయాలి. సో ఇంకా ఇంక్రిమెంటల్ లిబరేషన్ చాలా అడ్వాన్స్డ్ ఆప్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఇవన్నీ మనం నేర్చుకుంటాం. సో ఈ జర్నీలో ఈ 1 month ఆర్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ది టైం డ్యూరేషన్, 35 days or 40 days. So you will completely learn this Power BI. So by the end of this section, so you will be able to understand all these Power BI concepts like model, report, మీరు ఎలా మోడల్ చేయాలి, ఎలా బిల్డ్ చేయాలి రిలేషన్స్. సో డిఫరెంట్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ రిలేషన్స్ ఉంటాయి, 1 to many, 1 to 1, 1 to 1. సో అండర్స్టాండింగ్ వచ్చేస్తుంది. క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ కాలమ్స్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేసుకోవాలో వస్తుంది, మెజర్ ఎప్పుడు రాయాలో అర్థమైపోద్ది, ఈ రిపోర్ట్స్ ఎలా క్రియేట్ చేయాలో అర్థమవుతుంది, షెడ్యూలింగ్ ఎలా చేయాలో మీరు నేర్చుకుంటారు. సో నెక్స్ట్ మీరు ఇంటర్వ్యూకి ఎలా వెళ్ళినప్పుడు, సో జనరల్ గా మీరు ఓన్ గా నేర్చుకోవచ్చు, మీరు ఎక్కడ ఉడిమిలో నేర్చుకోవచ్చు, ఎక్కడైనా నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. సో జనరల్ గా మనం కాన్ఫిడెంట్ గా చెప్పాలంటే మనకు ప్రాక్టికల్ నాలెడ్జ్ అనేది అవసరం. సో ఈ ఇంటర్వ్యూ మీరు ఎలా ఫేస్ చేయాలి, మీరు ఎలాంటి టైప్ ఆఫ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతారు, ఇవన్నీ నేను ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తూ వెళ్తాను త్రూ అవుట్ ది జర్నీ. ఓకే, వెళ్ళండి. ఈ కోర్స్ అయిపోయే లోపల మీకు ప్రాపర్ గా ట్రైన్ అవుతారు, కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ కూడా వస్తుంది. అండ్ అప్ స్కిల్లింగ్ టు పవర్ BI ఇట్స్ ఎ గుడ్ డెసిషన్. మీరు ఇక్కడ ఈ పర్టికులర్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ లో నేర్చుకోరా అనే సెకండ్ ఆప్షన్. సో మీరు ఈ పవర్ BI పైన మీరు అప్ స్కిల్ అవ్వాలి అనుకున్నప్పుడు మార్కెట్ లో ఇప్పుడున్న రిపోర్టింగ్ టూల్స్ లో మీరు ఆల్రెడీ వేరే టూల్స్ పైన, రిపోర్టింగ్ టూల్ పైన వర్క్ చేస్తున్నా సరే, పవర్ BI అనేది ఒక ట్రెండింగ్ టూల్ రైట్ నౌ ఇన్ మార్కెట్ లో. సో అండ్ ఈజీ టు లర్న్ ఆల్సో. మీరు ఏ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ నుంచి వచ్చినా సరే ఇది నేర్చుకోవచ్చు. మీరు ఇప్పుడు కంప్లీట్ గా SAP బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ నుంచి వచ్చి పవర్ BI నేను ఎందుకు, అసలు SAP కి మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ కి రిలేషన్ ఎక్కడ, SAP నుంచి ఇంకా దానిపైన ఏదన్నా SAP లోని ఇంకొక ప్రోడక్ట్ ఏదైనా నేర్చుకుంటే బాగుంటుందని ఆ డౌటే అవసరం లేకుండా రిపోర్టింగ్ పర్పస్ కోసం పవర్ BI చూస్ చేసుకోవడం ఇట్స్ బెస్ట్ ఆప్షన్.